Yo, what's up, everybody? Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yo, what's
New and
up, man?
improved. He's new and improved, ladies and gentlemen. Yo,
That's
what's
right.
up, yo? My man Ace. You might find him in a theater near you
Fuck you.
in the back. And this is a local movie theater. This ain't one of those big ones like the AMC. No, this is the local movie theater with like 50 seats in it. You'll
And
get to
those are
see
the
this
ones that
guy
you
in the
ventured
back.
to, right? Yeah. Before you... Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we know where Cayne goes at night.
Yo, I'm
Yeah.
telling you all, you're in for a real treat. If you go check out the video, you're gonna see the new and improved Ace.
Don't say
I
that too
mean,
much.
he looked like $1 million. I mean,
A little more than that, but okay.
guys looking like the new version of the Unabomber, man. I mean, like
Fuck
he's.
off.
I mean, you might see him in a park with an all black raincoat on. I mean, he's definitely, he's shaping up as an interesting figure over here, man. What's going on, my man Ace? He's here.
Interesting figure. Listen, I'm part of the Mexican mafia, all right? So don't do that, okay?
MS-18? MS-18? No, no.
Listen, they call me Mr. Tapatio, man, okay? Well,
Oh man, too funny,
I'm
bro.
gonna make your shit a little spicy.
Yo,
Listen,
what's
man,
going on, my man? How you doing?
nothing much. I'm doing good. A little tired because I've been looking at myself in the mirror and hating the way I look. It's going all right. How was your weekend?
Not too bad, man. Man, when I tell you, so the weekend overall was cool. I have my son this weekend, and he's on the track team, right? And so, he has these track meets, and I don't go to them super often because they're kind of far away from me. But I do support, So I took him to one event this weekend, and we got there at 8 o'clock in the morning. You could probably see the first, like the tired on my face, right?
A little
Like
bit.
I took him there at 8 in the morning, and so we get there, everything's cool, meeting parents, we're talking, and I'm like, okay, cool. Any day now, this will get started, right? Any
Hmm.
any moment. His first race didn't start until 12 o'clock, and so now, mind you, we're
Okay.
here. Other races have started. Started getting things going. I would say about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
Not, and his squad didn't start going until 12 o'clock. And I said, okay, cool. He was running 3 races this day. The next time he ran was at 2:30, almost 3 o'clock. And then he had one more race at
Okay.
5:50. 5:50. So we literally sat there for 10 hours. 10 hours. And we watched these kids run 3 races. And when
No.
I tell you, when I left there, I was so exhausted, man. And then not only that, but I had a 2-hour drive to bring him home, right? So a 2-hour drive after that to bring him home. So it was the longest day, man. And look, I love my
Wow.
boy. I love you. You know that. But man, when I tell you, I came home and immediately crashed. I got hopped in the shower. I did everything I had to do. I cleaned up. I prepared for the day. And I got in that bed and I knocked out. I was dead to the world, man. It's crazy. Like it just makes you wonder how much we do as parents, for our kids. And granted, like his mom, like she takes him to all those events, and I salute her. And it becomes almost like a community, especially when you're talking about like these track teams and these, football teams and the football moms and dads, and they all get together and they do stuff together. Like they are a real community. They bring lunches for each other. They do all that type of stuff, which is pretty cool to see. But yeah, that was a long day for me, man.
That
Long.
sounds tough. That sounds tough. Yeah, no. I was shaving my beard and I messed up over the weekend. I probably shed a few tears. As you know, my beard was, pretty long and strong and always down to get the freak shit on. But that moment was horrible. I was shaving and I had the electric shaver. I thought I had the clipper on it, right? So where I can fade,
Yeah.
and I didn't have it because I was trying to line it up. And then I get a phone call and I look down and boom, I straight down. So I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna cry a little bit. Then I'm gonna try to do like a freaking goatee. Hell no. I look like full on mobs gangster. I just need a bandana. I'm out. I'm dead. Right? I'm shot like 20 times. Right? Hell no. So I'm doing all the things. And I'm like, oh, man, this is the only thing I got for me. Little soul patch and a mustache. And as I did it, I looked to myself. I'm like, it's not that bad. Right? Taking a walk. Let me go over to the Starbucks that I usually go to. And the guy looks at me and he goes, "Did you mess up shaving?" I almost fucking punched him in the face, bro. I almost lost it. I'm not even kidding. I was so upset. I'm like, listen, man, I just want to get my drink and go. He goes, I could his exact words. He goes, I could imagine.
Bro, that's crazy.
Deep breath. But you know what? You know what? All in all, I would say it was a good weekend because my goddamn Knicks came up, showed out. They completely stunned everybody. And people are saying, yeah, you know what? It's because they don't have their star player. Well, guess what? They won games while he was still playing. So you can't say that because he wasn't there, Tatum was not playing, that that's the reason why we won. You can't say that because they won without Tatum. Think about that. But they showed that they could. So, I thought it was pretty interesting and, saw the Subway Series. The Yankees definitely put in work. They blow out the Mets the first game, the third game, but come the second game, I mean, they lost by one, but it's whatever. We got to give a little brother a little win here and there. But
Absolutely.
overall, man, it was such a good time. I couldn't be more happier than I am, over the weekend, aside from the whole mistake with the face, which I will not be going to movie theaters. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think you should stay away, man. Stay away from there. Keep yourself just far away from certain areas. I think that's a good idea.
You, you're a fucking asshole. You know that.
Yo,
I want to
my
see you without a
man.
beard. Who wants to
You know
see
what's
Cayne without a beard?
you
That's
know
what I
what's
want
you
to
know
see.
what we'll do? We'll post some pictures up on our IG page of what we look out, what we look like without facial hair. All
I
right.
mean, obviously, I look great, but
Yeah, you know what's so crazy? And I think we talked about this a few episodes ago. I've had a fear of waking up and my beard was gone. Like I remember, like I would have dreams and I would be like, "Yo," like somebody would cut my beard off, or I would shave it off by mistake, and then I wake up like, "Oh my god!" Oh, and then I was like, "Oh my god, there it is," and
doesn't
I
that
feel
sound?
it.
Isn't that a little embarrassing, right? When you talk about it, when you say it out loud like that, it's like,
It
damn,
is.
that's a little embarrassing. I mean,
But you
so,
know
so
what? Because
I
you
was gonna
spend
ask.
so much time putting it together. You know what I mean? You spend so much time making sure it's right and grooming it and keeping it a certain,
Trust me, bro. I know. I fucking know. I'm with you. I may not look like it, but I am with you 110%. So that's my embarrassing thing, right? Like, what's the most embarrassing thing that you've done that no one's ever witnessed?
oh man, most embarrassing thing for me, besides being chased by a dog. So I used to work for this utility company when I was a kid, when I was young, like a teenager. I was like
Okay,
19, 20, right? And I used to work for this big utility company. And that same week, I got chased or bitten by two dogs.
probably deserved it.
And
Okay,
yeah, I probably did. They recognized I had the dog in me, so they was like, "Oh yeah, we gonna get that guy. Let's
and
get
he's
him
that
up
he's
out."
that bitch dog. That's why we're gonna go after him. Gotcha. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, all right, I was that big dog. You know what I'm saying?
He's got that. He's got that bitch in him. That
I
collie
was like,
bitch.
"Arr, arr,
Isn't
arr,
that what they
arr."
call
You
the?
know what I'm saying? I was one of those. You
Don't they
you
call
get
the
that
female
look.
dogs collie bitches?
You got the Chihuahua bitch, and you like what? That's you right
No,
there. You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying? Me, I got
no,
yo.
no, no, no. See, I'd rather go with the cat and call me Puss in Boots because I have the mustache to go with it. Now that motherfucker, he do some shit. That's all I
Yo,
gotta
oh
say.
yeah, Puss in Boots was
Yeah.
he was
I
official,
would never
man.
compare me to a cat, but right now I have no other choice because you're
Yeah,
giving me
you got no other
Chihuahua, and that's
choice,
the
right?
only
But
option I have. So I'm not gonna do that.
yeah, but yeah. Or you
Nah.
could be one of those little hot dogs, little dachshund things.
You know what? At least I got a big weenie, so I guess that's good.
Nah, real talk. I think that that was probably the most embarrassing. I'll tell you why. Because when I got chased, this is a big ass dog too. This was a Rottweiler, and I never
Sure.
forget. So like where the division I used to work in, we used to read people's meters and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so like, for their electricity, for the gas. So a lot of times they were in the back of the homes or they would be in like basements, right? So one time, and they would always tell you in the notes of your device, everybody got a device, and they would have like these dangerous zones, like, because safety was the biggest thing for this company. They were like, keep yourself safe, stay away from like flooded basements. You'd be surprised how many basements would flood. And, sometimes they would want you to go down there and read the meters. And it's like, no, we're not touching that stuff. Like it was really crazy. And, so this particular one, they said there's a dog here. Be careful, because sometimes it could be loose, like it might not be on a chain. So
Right.
I'm looking in the backyard. I don't see anything. I'm kind of peeking around, and I got my device in my hand, like I'm just chilling, right? So I don't see anything, and I have my device in my hand. I'm going through it, and then all of a sudden, I just hear, and I'm like,
Nah.
yo,
Even the sound, I would run. No, there's no point looking around because the moment you make eye contact with the dog or whatever monster it may be, you done.
you're right. And what's crazy is just before this happened, We had just had dog training, right? So in dog training, mind you, the dog they came with the dog. Guy came with the full gear, like did different things with it to show what you do in certain situations. They gave us spray,
Mhm.
all of that stuff to carry, right?
Did you spray it?
Um, and no, here's the thing. Here's why. Because so as the dog is coming to me, like it's right up on me at this point, and they say to let them sniff you. Like the dog starts sniffing me, and he's in certain areas. He start going there, the precious diamonds. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh nah, man, you got to
Mm,
watch yourself over there, right?
mm.
And so what happens is he's sniffing, and they say stand there, let them sniff you because that's how they determine if you're a threat or not. As long as you stand there, you're calm, you let them do what they got to do. Most of the time, they'll walk
Wait,
away. No, it was crazy. It was wild. It was, I call myself going by the book and doing what they say to do. We had literally just gotten this training maybe a week or two prior. So I'm
mhm.
standing there and the dog sniffs, and then all of a sudden he backs up a little bit, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, good. I'm like, he's letting me go. So I'm like, okay, this shit worked. I was like, good job, good job. So I go and I get ready, and when I tell you that dog said, it lunged at me, bro, and I said, yo, I turned around so fast, and I started running down this block. Like I'm coming out the driveway down onto the street, and I ran a good quarter mile. And at this point, when I tell you, I felt the dog like nip at my ass. It was like it went to go bite at me, and I just so happened to get away. And so I ran for so long and so far that when I turned around, the dog wasn't even behind me anymore. Like I looked back and I was like,
Nah, like nah. But you know what, man? I do feel bad for you a little bit. I feel like you deserved it,
yeah.
but
I'm sure
I
I
felt like
did.
you
I'm
deserved
sure
it.
I did.
But let me tell you right now who has a dog in them, right? And that's the New York Knicks, baby. The New York Knicks have the freaking dog in them. My goodness. I just want to touch on that again. Did you see how big the city erupted? It was
No,
insane. Well, you
no.
were driving, right? You were heading back when it was
Yeah, I
happening.
was.
Tell us about that
I
experience. Like, how
was.
was it for you?
My God, bro. I don't think you like it was devastating for me because I'm sitting there in an hour and 50 minutes worth of traffic going and coming back was about 50 minutes, right? So I'm literally in traffic for damn near 3 hours. And when I tell you just to go 3 blocks, it took me 45 minutes. Do you understand how pissed I was, bro?
Yeah.
I was livid, man. And look, I get it, and what I appreciate about this is you think about this is about 20 years of pent up aggression and just excitement for a team. Like they have not gotten anywhere in 20 years. We're talking about Latrell Sprewell era. You know what I mean? Like that's the last time these guys were in this type of situation. So for me, I mean, it's long overdue. And that just made me wonder, like, because a lot of people now are like, oh, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Knicks fan, right? Because so many people now are, they coming back around.
They were
And it's like,
Brooklyn
can you
Nets
blame
fans,
them?
and now they're Knicks fans. Yeah.
Right, right. It's like, can you blame them? Because I mean, you think about it, the Knicks were down for so many years. It's dope to be able to see a team kind of come back. You might have stuck with them for
Absolutely.
2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but 20 years, it's like, okay, at this point, it's time to find a new team.
You got to celebrate them. You got to celebrate them. Like
Yeah,
absolutely,
man.
you're going to see a lot of new hats arising out there, fresh with stickers and the price tag still on them. Like they're going to be a lot of them out there. Trust, and I
Uh-huh.
think that they deserve it. When you got Jalen Brunson and you know Mikal Bridges and you got Anthony Towns, who's just he's originally from New Jersey actually, Carl Anthony Towns. So it's kind of crazy when you think about
Yeah.
that, right? I mean,
And what part of Jersey?
you could tell he's from New Jersey the way he talks. I thought it was
Nah,
a tree. No, what? Oh my god,
I was about to
bro.
say, what part of Jersey he from, man? Oh
He's
man.
from your part apparently, but you
He
know what?
from he from the booties. He from
Nah,
the booties.
he's from your part. He loves you some.
Man, yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find where he's from. Nah, man, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's amazing when you see this team actually making it now. You got the Pacers that are just right there on the door. That's the next step before going to the championship. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it last year. Pacers knocking off the Knicks. Then you have Jalen Brunson and you have Halliburton over at the WWF, I believe, and they're doing a SmackDown. Jalen Brunson ends up winning, and you got Halliburton walking off stage. And people are asking, is this them setting up the stage of what's going to happen? Jalen Brunson is going to win while Halliburton walks off, and you then get the Knicks versus either OKC or you get them going against the Timberwolves. That's going to be a tough fight. But first, they have to go against the Pacers and see, what that's about. The Pacers are doing pretty good defensively.
Yeah, man, they are. They are. That's a tough team to beat. And for them to take out Cleveland the way they did, I didn't see that coming. I mean, I knew the Pacers were a tough team, but
Yeah.
this is just that was crazy.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, that was crazy with those Pacers, man. I think I don't know. I think that's going to be a very interesting series. I hope the Knicks can pull it off, man. I have nothing but hope in those new guys. I would hate to see them go home after such a great story. Yeah, just hope they keep it up. They got that dog in them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You got that dog, man. Speaking of the Subway Series, though, I know you've been following what's going on with those Yankees too, man. It's been a hell of a week. It's been a hell of a week.
Let me tell you right now, they own New York. Okay. Mets, nah. It's not it. Like, I don't know why you guys are here. Soto, fucking, I did nothing. He did nothing. He caught a few balls. I mean, that's what he's good at, but he didn't do anything. He didn't do the Soto shuffle. That was a big thing last year with the Yankees. He hasn't been doing the Soto shuffle at all this year, which is crazy.
Oh man, that was big for him.
That was, yeah. And
That was his signature thing.
no, he doesn't do it. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, that was a good game, man. I was so stoked to see the grand slam. Cody Bellinger, man. They just got Judge out, right? They struck him out. Cody Bellinger came up, swung that thing, man. The grand fucking slam. It was already 4-2, but then it became 8-2, and it was like top of the ninth. Nah, out of here. That was it. That was
Yo,
it was really nice seeing the Mets fans get deflated because I believe it was Jason Dominguez running to home plate and the polar bear on first base, he caught that ground ball. He could have stepped on first, but instead he threw it towards home and threw it like 10 feet to the right and completely let him score. It was insane. It was such a hectic game. It's such a hectic series when you think about it. First game, Yankees blew them out. Second game, they lost by one. Third game, obviously, blowout. So it was a really good series.
man. Yeah, those fans are something to behold. I think both the fans at the Yankees games, they get very aggressive, especially when you're talking Yanks and Mets, like those two teams together. And then when you talk about the Knicks, you see a lot of familiar faces at pretty much every game, just like you see at the Lakers game, right? The Knicks game, you'll see like Ben Stiller, he's really big there for the Knicks. You got Spike Lee. He's at every damn Knick game, almost damn near without fail. And so I know he is like on top of the world. I notice, I just like to see guys like him who've been ride or dies from the beginning. Like I'm like, this guy buy like lifetime seats because he never misses a game, man. I'm like,
He
if
has
he's
the
still
money
buying,
too, man.
yeah, but
He has
my
the
thing is,
money.
if he's been buying through like these bad seasons, that's dedication. Like if he just bought like when they were still hot, like the early 2000s or like the late 90s, then it would make sense. But for him to continue buying the way he was, if that were the case throughout these bad seasons, that's loyalty right there. That's loyalty.
Hmm.
I think what he's done with these movies coming out, I don't know if you saw, he has a new movie coming out with Denzel. That thing looked hot. It's called hold on, what is that movie called? I'm about to pull it up right now. I think it's
Hmm.
called From Highest to Lowest or something like that. Yeah, it's him and Denzel. He and Denzel have done quite a few movies together. They did Malcolm X, of course, classic movie.
Yep.
Classic movie. They did He Got Game, another classic.
Yep.
Jesus Shuttlesworth, everybody knows that name.
I gotta watch He Got Game again. That was a good movie.
Yeah, man, me too. Actually, I think I'm going to put that on today and watch that. You got Mo Better Blues and you got Inside Job, but to me, the standouts were Malcolm X, He Got Game, amazing movie. So, but yeah, they said they just showed this movie at the Cannes Film Festival, and they got a 6-minute standing ovation, bro. Like, so that to me says some pretty big
Okay.
things. I said, okay. I said,
Okay.
okay. And just seeing them two together anyway is always magic when they get together and they do a movie. So I
Hmm.
think that they do great roles. They do like what Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio do. They're very big on like building that relationship. And you're starting to see that with Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan too. You're starting to see them doing a lot of movies together. That's that new generation of like a Scorsese and a DiCaprio.
I like that. I like that a lot. And it's cool when you see that relationship kind of build out throughout the years. All the movies that they've collectively done, and how it's grossed and how it's grown throughout the years. I love seeing that. It's pretty awesome. And talking about movies, I was watching the most recent Mission Impossible movie because the last one's coming out this Friday, and I kind of want to watch it. I don't know. I'm kind of stoked about
Yeah.
that.
Oh
It's the
yeah.
last
I'm gonna check it out.
Mission Impossible movie. I cannot wait. Are you a Mission Impossible fan?
Huge fan, man. Huge fan. I know somebody actually said she didn't like them, and I was like, "What?
You know, like
How
who?
could you?" The Mission Impossibles. I was like, "How is that possible?
Take a
How?"
walk. Take a walk. Get out of here. I don't like you.
Yeah, like that bugged me out when she told me that. I could not believe it. I just love those movies, man. So I found out this interesting fact about those movies. They
Hmm.
don't start off with a plot first. They start off with the stunts and then figure out a way to make the story fit the stunts. So what they do is try to figure
Interesting.
out, yeah. So like that jump that he took off the cliff, that last movie,
Yeah.
where he goes off on the bike and then parachutes down. They basically try their best to find out how to do the most impossible stunts. Typically with Tom Cruise doing it because he likes to do his own stunts, which is an
That's
insurance
crazy.
nightmare for these studios. They hate it, like they love it and they hate it at the same time because it's very expensive and he is a lot of money to insure. But yeah, like that's what he does. Like so they literally find 3 or 4 big stunts to do in the movie and then they make the story fit around those stunts. They try to figure out the ways in which the plot will
Yo,
work just to fit those stunts.
that's sick when you think about it too, because Tom Cruise is 62 years old and he's still doing his own stunts. There was one I saw on Instagram of him jumping onto the helicopter and holding onto it with one hand as it's going down. Yeah, he has a rope that's attached just in case he falls, but how sick is that? He is 62, still doing his own stunts. And I thought that was remarkable. I mean, you got
I
to
mean,
give
you
it to the
think,
man.
yeah, you think like even to Mission Impossible 2, where he's on the mountains. Remember, he's mountain climbing or rock
Yeah,
climbing,
man.
and he's
That
out
or or
there.
the or the or the bike, jumping it right
Yeah,
off the
man.
freaking he did that like 7 times. 7
Yeah,
times.
yeah. He was like, yeah, I didn't feel like I got that lift off right on that last. They like
Yeah,
Tom. It was
yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
It was perfect. And I
No,
always
no,
think
no.
in
I
my
need to
mind,
hold
like,
on to it for a few more seconds.
I
Do your
always
thing,
think in my
bro.
mind, what if that's the like you say, okay, you know what? I want to get one more take, and that last take goes crazy. Like I always think about that type of stuff, man.
Have
And
to fuck around and
to be
find
a
out.
guy, yeah, yeah, to be a guy like Tom to do it. I mean, I give him all the props in the world. Like for him to do it this long and be this successful, and to be able to go out and say, all right, I'm gonna go out with a bang, and everything works out, man. Like that's dope. That's really dope.
I
He's one of
mean,
my favorites too, man. He's a great actor.
I think he's a great actor. What is he, like 5'4"? Something like that, 5'5"?
Yeah, some 5'5", 5'6", maybe.
It's always the short actors that are like the best out there. It's crazy
Robert
when you think about
Downey
it.
Jr. Yep, he's one of
Rob,
them.
Robert Downey, he's probably one of my favorite actors.
Yeah,
Love him.
man.
What was it? Tropic Thunder.
Oh, man.
Yeah, when he
Yeah.
played the black man.
I was always a little
Our
divided
people
on
have
that.
been going through this for so long. What do you mean, our people?
And I watched that when I was younger, much younger, and I wonder how I would watch it now. But I know even then, I still was like, I don't know. I like the idea of it. The premise of it was pretty cool, but it's also different seeing it on screen. Like we could never do that type of movie today. I don't know if that could happen.
Things change. I don't think I've seen any movies like that. I mean, we talked about it in our previous episodes about, movies being made and how they're so unoriginal. I haven't seen any movies that were like that these days, just because I feel like, in a sense, the movie industry is slowly dying and they don't want to chance it on something that's not going to gross, right?
Mhm.
Want to chance it on something that's not going to be a hit. And it's crazy when you look at all these movies that are going out, because they're getting put on Amazon Prime almost immediately to be rented for you to watch at home for 20 bucks, for 48 hours. Think about that. It's kind of crazy. You can pause it, you play it, do your own thing. But when you look at these movies that are like saying exclusively for the theaters, exclusively in theaters, I think that is more appealing. And those are the movies that they're thinking are going to be, more gross, such as Sinners, such as uh, what was it? The Amateur. That was a good one, but it's again
Yeah,
also a remake. Still, pretty good freaking remake. I mean, he's a good actor.
I got
But
to check that out.
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, it's
You know,
crazy when you think about that.
Yeah, I think for me, do I think that the movie industry is changing a lot? Yeah. When I started seeing a lot of foreign investment in movies, even with some of the Mission Impossibles now, it's foreign investors. You'll see Alibaba, right? Like that's, That's the Chinese, because a lot of times they'll get a lot of Chinese investors or a lot of Arab Emirates investors and things,
Mhm.
or Saudi investors, because the types of movies that they make, they cost so much money, and a lot of times the American studios don't want to put up that much money, so they'll
Absolutely
get the
not.
money from other sources. And so, like you said, it's a changing landscape now when it comes to movies, because everybody's trying to make movies for cheaper, and that's why even with AI kind of getting in the mix now, you're starting to see AI being on the front lines in terms of like even writing scripts. Doing a lot of the different movie scenes. They're trying to find ways in which to use AI to create these really big epic scenes that would typically cost a couple $1 million to make. Like,
Mhm.
because sometimes you ask yourself, where is this budget going? If they say that we spent $200 million on this movie, a lot of times they're paying crews of 20 and 30 guys to literally sit at a computer and figure out how to make this one scene that's 5 or 6 minutes come together. And
Yeah.
that money kind of goes very fast.
It's kind of funny that you said that because I was just watching The Transporter the other day with Jason Statham. Such a good movie, very original. And
Yeah.
there was a scene when he's driving the truck and he's kicking the guy out of the door, and the guy holds onto the door and it breaks off, and he's now sliding, and then he slides off the bridge right into like this mountain. But as he's sliding off, you can pause it, and it's a dummy, it's a prop,
Yeah.
it's fake, but you can see like it has like similar hair, it has the white skin, it's a white dude, but when you pause it, it's just a doll screaming and being flown off, and it's not moving, it's just like all the way. It's hilarious, and I'm watching this, and I'm thinking about that because nowadays, when you look at movies and you see things like that, they want to highlight a person going off, and they want to look at it in real time, And when you think about the stuntmen and how much they get paid to do these things, and you look at that prop's getting paid nothing. That's probably, $5 to make, if that, right? How
Right.
many takes one in?
Yeah.
As many as you want. No one's getting hurt. But to now get someone who might possibly get hurt to take on that role to just slide off a mountain, that right there is the difference, right? And you talk about AI now being put into it. Now they can just create an AI of that person going off the mountain, and it'll look realistic even when it's not, which is kind of crazy. So AI is going to put a lot of people out of jobs. Just want to throw that out
Yeah.
there.
It's funny you mentioned AI, because I think there's this lion skydiving video going around right now.
I saw that. Yo, that's sick.
And I know
That is
there's a big
sick.
debate on if it's actually AI or not. What's your thoughts?
I mean, if you do a comparison between you jumping out of an airplane and the lion, I mean, they're both animals. So would you call that AI?
Fact.
But honestly, I think it's real. I think that it's completely real. You could see the lion's curiosity while up there. I do think that it was probably sedated. I think that the lion definitely wanted to, eat some meat while it was up there, but it's like, fuck, all I have is air. Where are the damn birds? It's looking around
Word.
all curious. I think the curiosity of the lion really made it believable. And I don't think it was AI. I think AI will just show it kind of like chilling and getting the hair going crazy, but the hair wasn't going as crazy as you thought it would. AI is definitely believable, but I don't think that it's really that good yet,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I mean, they're making amazing strides. I know that they're doing a lot of work right now on hair texture, because I think for so long they typically just had it where it was, white hair texture. It was, blonde hair, or, just brunette hair, straight hair, right? But they didn't really start getting into curls and coils and things like that. And they've actually shown some video now that they've been working on where the AI can create or recreate versions of ethnic hair, which I thought was very, very dope to see.
That is
You can
interesting,
see,
actually.
yeah, like they're really getting into understanding how hair curls. What makes it curl, what does it do when it bends a certain way, when it hits the light, when water hits it. I think that's very cool, and they should have more representation like that. So I think that's dope.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. When you have AI that can incorporate, what hair looks like. I mean, they can also test things like what would this look like on this person? What would that look like on that person? They did it before when it comes to suits, right? You want to try on a suit, you want to see what it looks like. Here's AI for that. But now they're getting a little more into the mix. They're looking at, your hair structure, the breakdown of, the products that you use. You can add that into the mix. Do you wash your hair 2 times, 3 times a day? Do you wash it once a week? If you do, that's fucking gross. But if you wash it once a week, things like that.
Watch out, Ace. I
You
don't
know who
know.
you are.
Some people get mad at me when I say stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. Do they
For
get
real?
mad?
For real? Ooh. Wash your armpits.
Yeah, some people got mad when I said people need to be washing their hair. I don't do that. I don't do that stinky hair, no sir. No
No, no,
sir.
no, no. When you smell when I smell product in the hair, I'm like perfumes and stuff, because that shit when it stays in there, it sits. And when
Yeah.
it sits, it's just that scent is just not it's a dampening scent. It's very
Mm,
dampening. Like,
mm.
it's heavy, it's a heavy scent, and I don't like that because it makes me feel like I'm, like, choking on whatever fumes are in there. Respectfully, respectfully. I
Respectfully.
know that you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
are thing, you wanna make sure that you are smelling nice, looking nice, etcetera. Do your thing. So,
Hmm.
hygiene is super important. If
Yes,
someone's
yes.
talking to you about your hygiene, take a hint.
Yeah, take some notes. Like don't take offense
Yeah.
because sometimes you would rather certain people tell you than others. So
Mhm.
just learn from what people have to say. Nobody's gonna like everything, and you
Like,
got to
think about it
figure out
too.
ways to make it better.
If one of your friends is telling you that, or one of your boys or your man, whatever, is telling you that, and you're about to go to work, do you really want to have people talking behind your back, or you want your person to be telling it to your face and saying, "Hey, you know what? You kind of fucking stink. You should probably take a shower." Right?
Oh, you know what? You actually bring up another good topic too, because I think that's a very interesting topic to get into. Like, are there certain things that you kind of hold back from saying to either your friends or your mate? Like, are there certain times when like maybe the breath isn't too good? You know what I mean? Where it's like, hold up, maybe it's a little tart right now. I think maybe you should go mouthwash it up real quick before we leave, or like or if you go out with your friends and you drive and like the car is on fire because their breath is so hot, and it's like okay, and then when you go to offer them gum, they don't take it, and it's like those are the people to me that I can't understand. They frustrate me so bad. It's like okay, I'm giving you a hint, and your breath is like Dragon Ball Z up in this motherfucker. Like what's going on?
Dragon
Take
Ball
this,
Z, that Kamehameha. Fuck.
take
Yes,
this, please.
actually. I'm not really one to hold back. If I'm with someone and we've been together for a while, and when I say a while, let's say like 6 months plus, right? And let's say, her partner downstairs isn't, smelling as good as it usually is.
Mhm.
And it's a little musty, it's you're like, damn, it's like clampy and kind of smells off. And I'm very sensitive. I have a very sensitive nose. Like if that's happening, I don't want to put my penis in it. You know what I mean? I don't want to have like stank down there. Whatever. That's just me. That's just me. Right.
You're not alone.
I will say it in such a way where it's like, hey babe, do you want to take a shower? Like I will never say it. I'll never say like, yo, you stink down there a little bit. Hell no, I did that
Yeah,
before once. I did it once. Actually I did it a few times, but it never ended well. I always thought to myself, if I can say it differently, it'll end different. No, it'll always end the same. Like, what the fuck? Nah, hell no.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that's one thing that I hold back, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Shit, my shit will smell sometimes too. We all get swamp booty. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we get swamp coochie, and sometimes we get swamp balls. Like, whatever. This shit, it's real. Like,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah,
So my thing is like, yeah, I hold that back. I might hold back on saying things like maybe you shouldn't say those things because a lot of times they have it in their mind that they want to get something across to a certain crowd, whether they be doing a training, or they'll be talking to their friends, they want to give friends advice, or they want to give a friend a talking to, and they're talking to you, or they'll be like, "This is what I want to say. I want to say this, this, and that, this, and this," and you're like, "Oh, you sound really fucking mean. You probably
yeah,
shouldn't say that." I hold back because you know what? The best lesson in life is to get the proper feedback real time when it's happening. So their friend will give them that feedback. What about you?
yeah,
What are some
yeah.
things that you hold back?
Oh man, I think a lot of times it's around issues around maybe if you have a friend. I think we actually talked about this before. Like when you have
Hmm.
friends who are not savvy, right? They're not good at holding conversations. They're a little bit on the cornball side. Like it's very hard to go out with them and talk to girls or meet new people or do things. And they want you to do everything for them. Like they want you to start the conversation. They want you to introduce them. And,
I hate
and
that. I
sometimes
hate that.
and and I think we had also talked about the fact that sometimes, of course, not everybody in the friend group is going to be the same. right? You're going to have some friends who are a little bit more outgoing, some friends who are a little bit more savvy when it comes to talking to different women or, just different
Hmm.
people in general.
Yep.
And then you're going to have some who are just quiet. They sit in the corner. Maybe they're not confident the way they look. They don't look a certain way. They don't feel like they're attractive or, whatever case might be. And it just makes you ask yourself, like, can you hang with people like that? Like, what do you think? Can you hang with people who don't have those same traits that you might have?
Absolutely. I think that when you're hanging out with people who are different from you, it kind of works out in that favor. If I'm hanging out with a bunch of me's, I will get tired of me so fast. Like I would.
Same.
I'm very blunt. I'm very direct. I'm introvert as well as an extrovert. I can mix it up depending on who I'm with. I could talk to a brick wall for hours, and I could be angry talking to a person for a second. You know what I mean? Like there are things about me that I know that I love, and I things about me that I know that I can work on. But people love me for me, and the people that hate me, hey, you know what? I don't know who you are because no one hates me. But
That's right. That's right.
to answer your question, absolutely. I think that it creates a perfect balance of who I am and who they are. Maybe they need that friend that's a little more outgoing because they're not, and they kind of live vicariously through me whenever I'm talking to someone, and vice versa. They could be sitting at a bar by themselves, chilling out, and having people come to them. I'm like sitting in silence and still attracting people. That is fucking beautiful. So
Yeah.
there's. I mean, if you're just an asshole though, if you're like that asshole friend, I don't really care for those people. Those people who just are just mean and they feel like they're better than others. Those people can, respectfully fuck off. So,
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, I don't like people like that either. I don't mind actually having people around who don't have it all together. It's okay. And look, nobody has it all together. There's
mhm.
always something that we could all kind of work on. So I think that it's very cool to have friends who are different. Some friends might not be good. Like I had this one friend who was not the best looking guy, but he had game. And when I tell you, like, yo,
That's
he
all
can
it takes.
literally, he can make any woman laugh. And that's what they say. Like, you can make a woman laugh. That's literally half the battle for the most part. I think, and
Absolutely.
he just had the ability he could start up conversation. And when I tell you, like, girls would flock to him, like, they would legit flock to him.
Is he
And I
like
thought
that
that
dude
was
from
cool.
SNL? What's his name? You
What
know
you
his
thinking
name.
about?
You know his name. He dated all the freaking models.
You talking about like Pete Davidson, that guy.
Again, everyone. Kane knows everybody. Cool.
I've watched a lot of things, man. What can I tell you? But no, real talk. Yeah, kind of similar in some ways to him. It's just one of those things where you just would not think like, but he was able, and some of the women he was dating were like gorgeous, man. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. So I think it is very, very possible to let your personality just shine through, man. Like everybody has different things that are great about them, different aspects, and I think that that's pretty cool. I think we should all experience that and have our own individuality.
Hmm. I like that. I mean, absolutely. Again, assholes, not so much, but I love that. And for those who don't have their shit together, you know what? If they turn around and have their shit together and they become something really great, they're still a part of your crowd, and you're with them. When they're at their lowest, you're with them when they're at their greatest. Those are true friends. If someone just got dumped and or cheated on, or they just got divorced, and you know what, you want to be there for them and you want to support them, even if they want to talk about the same things over and over and over again, and you're like, damn, they cannot get off this wagon, but that's fine because I want to be there for them. Those are the real ones, right? And I feel like we don't have enough of those real ones in our lives. We have those that'll say, like, hey, whatever you need, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I got you. If you are, hurting, if you are curious, if you need assistance on anything at home and life, I'm here for you. But then when you call them, uh, I'm busy. I got things going on. Or you know what? I'll send you a link and you can look into it, or you should Google it. I need your help, and you're not there for me. So you can really see who's there for you or not. And I think that if you have that crowd of unique people who compliment you, they will feel that, because when you have someone that compliments you and they feel something that's off, they will recognize it, as opposed to someone who is exactly like you or similar to you. They'll just continue doing the same thing, right? So it's
You know
definitely
what? You brought up something though that is a true pet peeve of mine, which is I can't stand online now where you like people will ask a question, like it'll be a big topic about something, and they'll say, "What are you guys talking about? What did this person say? What did this person do?" And everybody's already well in tune with the conversation at this point, and it's like, dude, go to Google and look it up yourself. The information is there for you to find. I have a very big issue with people who don't take initiative. That's always been a big thing for me because I think that when you have somebody who does not want to pick up a book or doesn't want to literally pick up your computer or your laptop or even your phone and just quickly ask a question to get the answer, I think that it's a big problem for me because I know, like myself, I worked for some places where they don't give you a whole lot of room to run. Like it's you're here today. By the end of the week, we need a presentation on this, this, and this. Right? There is no ramp up time. Uh, this happened to me recently, like where I went in on a consulting project and they said, "Hey, we got to roll this thing out very soon." You get in there and they give you tons of documentation, tons of things to check up on and read, people to talk to. All right, we got to give a presentation next week to the CEO about this, this, that, and the third. You think you'd be ready? And it's like, yeah, but but that's just the way it is. And I think that if you are not the type of person that's a go getter, you're not the type of person that can literally sit down and figure it out and tinker and mess around and learn that way, you're not going to make it, especially in this new world that we're living in. We're living in a very technologically sound arena where people are using ChatGPT, like we've talked about, for everything. And if you're not able to sit down and quickly like just find answers to things for yourself or to figure things out, you're going to be stuck. It's going to be a hard road for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And you know what? You touched on something that's very important. Using ChatGPT for everything. There are people applying for jobs using ChatGPT, creating a resume and talking points so they can ace the first round, right? And it's just talking about what are your strengths, giving you examples of give me an example of how you handle the situation, etc. You just talked about how to ace an interview in our previous podcast. And I was looking at some things and talking to some people, and one of my friends who works in HR was like, yeah, we had to let someone go because they gave false information on their resume. They never worked at these jobs, and they put on their resume organizations that have already been,
Close down.
closed down. And it's just the wildest thing. And so they strategically placed it because AI found these companies that have been closed down and said that you work there for HR. They go in, they don't know how to do the job. They're using AI for everything. It's stay-at-home jobs, and they're wondering why they aren't able to do the job correctly. And mind you, they're finding small discrepancies. They're looking at certain things that aren't really matching up. Like they're doing the job, but they're fucking up on things that are very, very simple that people in this role should know how to do.
Right,
Even though they're
right.
completing the task, it's sloppy still, and they still have to fix it up. So it's
Hmm.
wild. And she's like, yeah, we had to let them go because we found out that they actually did not work at these jobs. They didn't have a degree in this area. Everything was falsified via AI. So that is a huge thing that's actually running rampant. So a lot of places are getting these fake resumes that are AI generated for people who don't have the actual skill sets to work in these roles. That is so scary. That is so fucking scary. What's your
Man, I'm sitting here in disgust right now. Like I'm literally sitting here shaking my head, like because I'm flabbergasted that so many people don't know this by now. That if you could use AI to lie, you don't think that people use AI to find the truth? You don't think that
Mhm.
people use the access to the internet to be able to dig up on you? I mean, 10 years ago, they were able to check to see where you graduated, if you actually went to college, how many credits you had for that particular college that you went to. They have ways to find out. So to think that you can pull it off, especially in 2025 or 2024, whatever it was, doesn't mean, please, you're not going to get away with it. And listen, even if you get the job, people don't realize this, but they're still doing background checks on you even after you start. They're still checking with the last employer that you had who you couldn't list because you were still working there at the time. They're going to reach out to that employer and ask them, hey, this person, did they leave on good terms? Or let's say you decide to get a promotion, you want a promotion and the job wants to promote you. They don't just give you the promotion. A lot of people don't know, but they run another full check on you to make sure that you can
Okay.
get that promotion. So it's not just, oh yeah, we're going to give this guy this promotion. No, If that company is a real company that does due diligence, they always do another check. So they'll check the most current employer. If you said you received a degree while you were working with that current employer, they'll check to make sure you got that degree. So you cannot lie. And that's another thing too, is now let's say you've been working on a place for 5, 6. There were some people that I know that were at a job for 7 years, 10 years, and they got caught in a lie on their resume from 7 years prior.
You're right, but they still got paid 7 years.
They did, but they did, but guess what? Now, when it comes time to get another job, they're going to ask you, "Hey, you were
Now
at
that
this
you,
place a long time.
what's
How do
crazy
you?"
about that? It's about AI communication, right? Like you have to learn how to communicate with AI. If you do not build the story properly for AI and
Mhm.
utilize all the things you need to learn when it comes to it, like we know our good friend who's really good at using AI, and he talks about how it's all about storytelling. And if this person's an amazing storyteller and they're crafting this whole elaborate lie about their past to get this job, let's say Goldman Sachs, for example, and they're crafting this elaborate lie, doing all the things that'll help them get through the loopholes of getting this job, and they actually get it. And let's say that the team that's doing all the research, they're like, hey, you know what? Let's see if this person's actually telling the truth. Let's use AI, as you just mentioned, to check and see if this person's actually real. If they're a better storyteller than those storytellers, they're going to trump them. I hate using that word, but they're going to trump them and get this job, which is the craziest thing. You have to think about that. AI is all about storytelling. You can say, hey, AI, give me the best route to go to Denny's. Hey, AI, I'm leaving my house around 5:08 p.m. I'm going to take a shower. It's going to take around 2 minutes. My friend's going to be there, but they're usually late around 15 minutes because they went on Mexican time, just like Cayne. And I'm catching an Uber, but I need some help. How long would it take me to get there? It's like the way that you word it can give you a faster, quicker route compared to this long about route, right? And it's all about how you communicate.
Yeah, and yes, it just brings up the idea of ethics, though, too. It's not just about communication, it's about knowing when to use AI to your advantage or
Hmm.
just technology in general, right? Not even so much AI, just technology in general. Knowing when to use it to your advantage and knowing when you have to be your true self, too. Because so many people are writing papers using these advanced technologies or trying to write journals and or new scientific journals or new medical journals or articles, and it's getting found out that some of them are trying to use AI to do it. You can't use AI for this type of stuff. Like, this is where people's health is involved. This is where studies about certain medications is involved, or you
Yeah.
cannot do that. So you have to be an ethical person. You can't just try to skate your way through. And I get it. It's easier in some ways to do that because that might guarantee you a certain thing, but it never lasts. There's nobody that can say that they've cheated all the way through in the academic world or in the business world. I mean, yes, we've
I
got the
mean,
Trumps of the world, we've got the Elon Musk of the world, we've got these guys. This is true.
bro,
This
I've
is
known
very
a few
true.
people who have gotten a degree with AI alone.
Well, listen, that's a different story. It's one thing to be able to use it to help you get your education, right? But now when it
No,
comes
I
to
mean like copy and paste, brother. A big screen, have AI on one side, the stuff on the other side. They're at home 24/7, and they're just copying and pasting everything to AI to get the responses for tests, quizzes, etc. I've
I
known
mean,
people who have done that and
but you know
gotten
what?
their.
Yes. I mean, yeah. But I think too, you have to understand that at a certain point, when it comes time to take a test, because a lot of these places, like if you've taken like online courses before, they know if you're using more than one computer at a time, or like more than one screen, and they'll
Mhm.
tell you shut the screen down. They have no problem checking. They'll make sure your surroundings look a certain way, like you can't have more than one computer up at the same time. So they will check all that stuff, even if you're virtual. So I think a lot of times it's very important to just be very aware of who you are and
Mhm.
be aware of what you're doing, because if you can't speak to what you know, that degree doesn't really mean anything. Like even when you think about tests or exam time, right? When you take an exam, you have to
Mhm.
know what's on there. You can't cheat on an exam, right? So yeah, maybe certain assignments you can use technology to help you get through those assignments faster, but you still got to know the material.
I know one person who's done the whole thing through and through via AI without studying, without doing anything. I know one person, and
Mhm.
I'm telling you right now, man, it's actually pretty insane when you think about that. And
Yeah.
he was like, "Listen, all I did was, paid for the class. I'm now valedictorian. He did it all online, and it was insane." So I'm not saying they could do that now. They probably patched it down. They probably patched it. I'm pretty sure they did. But let
Yeah.
me tell you right now, crazy when you think about it. And kudos to those people. And those are the real storytellers that I just talked about, right? Those are the true ones that are really taking advantage of it because they're not only just using it for the day to day, but they're being immersed into this AI and it's allowing them to kind of jumpstart their careers into different aspects because come next year, AI is going to take over a lot of jobs. And if you want to get into it, you better know everything you need to know about ChatGPT.
Yeah, and I think that just gets into the topic of, just people wasting their potential. I think a lot of times, we know of people who are excellent. I think you were talking about this earlier too, in some ways, just how you might know someone who you feel is perfect in a certain arena, right? Or they should be doing something that you feel that they should be doing, but they can't bring themselves to do it. And I wanted to speak to that because I'll be real. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You could really have a good understanding of how things work and what you need to do. But having that drive, that execution is different, right? You have to be a different person to have the knowledge and the drive. Like what is
Absolutely.
this? Yeah.
I mean, think about it this way, right? You're talking to a friend or a loved one or your girlfriend, whatever, or your boyfriend, doesn't matter who they are, right? You're talking to somebody and you know that they have the potential to do anything, right? It could be they're really good at finance, they're really good at IT, they can have their own business because they complain about how they don't want to work for a big company anymore. They don't want to have to work for a boss and have all these employees that are just worthless and they hate going into work. They want to work from home. So you give them the idea, hey, you know what? Build your own business, create your own business, work for you. You can work on your time, do that while you're working. So that way you're not, losing out on money, on income, right, to support you. Build your pipeline, get your brand out there. If you're really good with HR, create your HR, business and do consulting for different businesses for certain people. It doesn't matter. Right? HR is everywhere. Everyone needs it, right? And so if a team has an HR, but they're gonna need some assistance, so they're gonna call you in and say, "Hey, you know what? Train our HR to HR," right? And then there's different ways when it comes to that, right? And then if you give this advice and it sounds great on paper, everything's clicking, and their response is, "Yeah, that just sounds like so much work. I lose my shit."
I mean, it takes time, man. It you have to understand, like for a lot of people, being entrepreneurial is not a thing. You have to think about the system itself. College wasn't meant to really teach you to be entrepreneurial. It was meant to teach you how to think about school from the beginning. School was really meant to teach you how to become a robot in a lot of ways. It
Okay, I
was
was
meant
just
to
I was just gonna say,
yeah, it was meant to teach you how to sit down in a chair for
stay in
7, 8,
line.
8 hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even when you think about getting your food in the cafeteria, everybody's in a straight line. You think about where you sit down. You think about the times. There's a bell for every class you go to, right? A lot of that, some people say it's actually very close to the jail system, too, the prison system. It's very similar. But it just teaches you to be a person that's a robot, right? You have no desire but to just do better for that company, right? To say, okay, I want to be the best thing I can be, the best person I can be for this company. And that's all they want. They want that pipeline, right? Because that's really what college is for, is just to give you a pipeline of more workers into these companies where very few people hold all the wealth and they can pay you $150,000 a year. They could pay you $200,000 a year because they know you'll be comfortable with that. They give you just enough money so you can have some level of comfort, right? Some level of, okay, well, I feel like I made it and I'm successful. But that is a trap. And it's hard. Like I remember I wanted to start up a business with some of my friends, a tech company. I was trying to start maybe 12, 13 years ago. And I got so frustrated with them because I had this thought in my mind. It was five of us. We all sat down. I had this idea of something I wanted to do and it started off great. But now, when it came time to execute, when it came time to do certain things, the energy just wasn't there anymore. And I was like, "Why? What's up, y'all? Like, why are we not like going after this thing?" Like, I just couldn't understand it. But it wasn't until I used to say to myself, "I'm like, why do y'all want to work? Like, who doesn't want to work for themselves and have their own business and be able to do their own thing?" But some people, especially when you make a certain level of money, it's very easy to fall into the, yo, I make good money. I have a family. I'm not trying to lose what I have
Mm.
to do something that might not work. So I
So
think a lot of times if you have no kids, if you're single, that's one thing. But when you got a family, now it's, oh, I got to make sure that they got money. They have food, they have
that's
clothes.
why I
So,
touched on earlier that you can still do your job while starting this business up. No one's telling you to quit your job and to just start going a different direction. That is being, first of all, stupid. You're not planning correctly. You need to make sure that you have your boundaries all set up, that you have guardrails. You need to make sure that you have a fallout plan, right? And your fallout plan is your job, your consistency doing that. Your 9 to 5, however much you work, doesn't matter. You do that, and then you do your business on the side. And you have to hustle a little bit. You have to have a little bit of hustle in your game. You have to make sure that you put in extra hours for your job, so that way you are, making money here while you're making money here. And
yeah.
then this side gig turns into something that's very profitable, either equal to or greater than what you're already doing, hopefully greater. Then you start making the decision. Hey, you know what? I'm making a lot of money doing this. I'm doing this. Maybe you fall back from 40 hours a week to working, part time, 20 hours a week whilst doing this, so you can continue with your benefits. You can continue with your social security, etc. It doesn't matter what you want to put in there while doing your business, and have that as a side gig, right? So now your main gig turns into your side gig, and your side gig turns into your main gig. And if you found yourself very comfortable where you can leave whatever you were doing to continue doing your at home business, or brick and mortar business, whatever, then you're good, right? But it takes some time. It takes some dedication. It takes you working a little bit more. Hey, you know what? Now you have to sacrifice a few of your hours at night, whether going out with your friends, drinking, going out partying, or maybe, going to the movies, right? You're sacrificing something for something. It's a give and take.
Yeah, but interesting that you mentioned that because the average age for the entrepreneur is 45 years old. So most people are not getting their real start. Like for instance, Jeff Bezos, he was mid 40s when he started Amazon. We think a lot of these guys, yeah, like same with Steve Jobs. Now Steve Jobs was different because he had started off very young in his 20s, and his father even leveraged his house. He mortgaged his house a few times, and he cleaned out his garage and actually helped Steve Jobs build computers. Like,
That's
they had
crazy.
a yeah. So I love to hear stories like that because you could tell the impact of parents being a part of their kids' lives. But even with Jeff Bezos, he started up that company. He got some of his family and friends to donate. I think they invest. They invested $1 million in his business, and that was just from a bunch of friends getting together, right? And they were able to turn that into billions. Like they literally were the first investors, so they turned that into billions of dollars, right? And I think that again, it's just about where you are in life, because I think it's when you reach your 40s and your 50s, and you're like, that's when you start to realize I don't have much time. So it's the time for me to take action on things that I really want to do. I think that's what people start to realize. And I think that's typically what happens. In your 20s and 30s, you're trying to just toe the line. You're just trying to do what you've been taught to do. Get a good job, have a career. But I think once you finally hit those 40s and those 50s, that's when you're saying to yourself, okay, what have I really done for myself? I don't like the fact that I have to ask somebody, can I go on vacation? To do something. There's certain things that start to kick in when you reach a certain age. You're like, nah, I'm not doing that. I got kids. What?
Yeah, you have to get permission. Yeah.
Yeah, it's certain things that start to kick in for some reason. I don't know what it is, but that's how it was with me too. I got to a certain point. I was like, I ain't asking nobody to do shit. If I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. And if you don't like it, too bad. And that's just how I am. Like, I think it's just different. When you become a parent, you start to realize, what if my kids saw me at work? What would they say? What if my kids saw me getting cursed out or yelled at by my boss? What would they say? And
First off,
so oh yeah, that's the fact. But it just makes you think, like, how do I come across, and
mhm.
and how do I make sure that I'm somebody my kids can respect even when they don't see me, or I'm somebody my girlfriend can respect even when she doesn't see me. Like, you got a lot of tough guys who will go home and act all tough in front of their girl, but at work they punks.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? At work is, yes sir, yes, I'll do it. I got, sure, whatever you need, right? But when they get home, they miss the tough guy, right? So, and you got to be the same way at all times, and I think that's the key here. You just, if you got that ambition, go for it, go do it. But sometimes you understand too that some people are meant to be workers. I literally have people tell me, I'm just meant to be a worker. I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. I just don't have it in me. And
I'm
that was
meant to
hard
be
for
a
me to
house husband.
Bro, listen. I asked myself, could I ever live that lifestyle? Could I be a house husband? Put on an apron, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? I'll make some
I
dinner.
almost had that opportunity in Italy, actually.
Yeah.
I almost had the opportunity. I was young. She was an older lady. She had mad money, widowed, and I thought to myself, "Could I do this?" I think I was 21. Yeah, and I was like, "Can I do this?" I don't think I could do it. And I thought about all the things I could have. I could have had. She had a yacht, big old house, mad money, and I thought to myself, "That'll be kind of interesting." But I'm too wired differently.
Yeah.
I can't be someone's accessory.
Yeah, you were a
You know what
boy
I mean?
toy. You was a boy toy. That's what it was.
I mean,
Yep.
I could have been. I wasn't. I
Hmm.
could have been.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I'm saying?
that's the hard part. Like, because like I know we were talking before about the fact that when you can provide for a household, sometimes the other person doesn't want to stay in the house because now I have no power. Now I have to ask you for everything at this point, and I
Yeah.
can understand that. I can understand that. You know, like it sounds real good, but when it comes time now to say, okay, I want to go do something, and you say no, okay, does that mean if I go, this is done? You know, you're controlling too many aspects of my life.
Hmm. And when we talk about like working and you know, working in one job or not being made to work, you just don't feel like you're there. When you talk about all these careers, right, that are out there, and I see people that are working at In and Out or McDonald's, and by the way, their salaries are freaking like 20 22 bucks, something like that. When it comes to like these fast food restaurants and Starbucks is actually popping. Starbucks is really good to work for when you think about it. They have really good
Benefits, yeah, the benefits are good.
insurance,
401k.
benefits, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about careers, and you're saying if you have a career that's well off and that's doing great, why would you want to switch? What if it was the complete opposite? What if it was a career that you weren't really making much money in? Do you think that they'll be more motivated if they
Yes.
were making less?
Yes, and that's typically what the driver is. Either I typically find, and I've done research on this, is that the people that have certain jobs where either they're not making a lot of money or they have a boss who is constantly demeaning them. They got a bad boss, just a person who,
Yeah,
there's
baby.
literally there's people who literally who get anxiety attacks before they go into work. I remember
Yeah.
that's how I remember when I was young. Mind you, I was 24, 25. I had this boss who was like just an ass, man. Like, and when I tell you, it got to the point where I thought I had a heart attack. I was having a heart attack, and I had to go to the
What?
hospital. Yeah, and I was real short of breath. It was the Sunday, which, interestingly enough, a lot of people don't know is that Sunday is the highest rate of heart attacks. People have heart attacks on Sunday because they dread going to work on Monday. So this is another thing to keep in mind, guys. If
Wow.
that job is stressing you out that much, where you feel like, you're just losing yourself, you don't want to go to work, something's not right, it's time to start looking elsewhere. And it's easier said than done, but nothing is more important than your health. Take your health
Absolutely.
seriously. I'm sure your kids, they wouldn't mind having their parent home for a couple of months until you find that next thing. They would much rather
Yeah.
have their parent than have a parent who is no longer there or have a parent who is now maimed in some way because of having a heart attack or a stroke. Take care of your health, take care of your mental health, and get you a job that actually makes you happy. And look, we're not saying every job is going to be a pie in the sky. In fact, most jobs don't make you happy, but you
Hmm.
don't also have to work for a jerk of a boss either. And most people actually
Absolutely.
quit their boss. They don't quit the job. That's another
Yeah,
high
they
profile.
quit because of the boss. I've
Yeah.
had so many people say that working in HR, like, why are you quitting? I'm quitting because of this person. I love the
Hmm.
job. I love working here. I love my colleagues. I just cannot work for this individual. And it's crazy how often I would hear that and still see that same individual working there because
Yes. Yep.
they feel like they're good for the job. They're a leader. It's harder to get leaders. It's easier to get workers. So we might as well just rotate them because hiring another leader is a headache, right? And
Yeah,
I hear that and I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. You're
bro.
allowing yourself to have mad turnover because they're easier to replace. Let's call them foot soldiers, just for argument's sake.
Hmm.
They're easier
Yeah.
to replace than, let's say, a general, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
that's crazy. I would axe a general. I would pick someone out of the bunch who has the highest respect and who knows the work. And if they have years of experience, train them. Do a new leader orientation. Train them on how to do this person's job, And now you got respect, and that's going to make these people want to work just as much, want to give you better results, want to give you, higher energy, and give you even more percentage than they would have done in the past. They may maybe giving you 60% in the past. Now they're going to give you 120. They're going to double that because now they have someone that will make them feel more comfortable and confident to come into work earlier, come in earlier, leave later, that type of mindset.
Yeah. It's a very interesting thing that you just mentioned is that yes, there's a lot of bad bosses and they never seem to get fired, right? And you know what? Because one of the things you realize is that bad bosses are very good at results. They're very good at results for themselves,
Hmm.
right? They're very good at being high performers, but they are horrible at giving people the tools they need to also be high performers. So they are horrible team players. In fact, somebody we used to work with, very, very smart guy. You know what I'm talking about, the
Yeah,
smartest of the bunch. And
asshole.
he
Yeah.
came along, and yeah, he just was one of those guys who thought he knew everything, but his turnover rate was high as hell. And then there's another guy who came in after him who was very much a person. I remember he showed this video by Simon Sinek. I don't know if you've heard of him before, but
Yes.
he's the author of the book Start with Why, right? And one of the things I love about this guy was he was very big on talking about the actual mental aspect of why we do what we do, what makes us happy, what makes us want to do better. And he said he interviewed a bunch of Navy SEALs, right? And then he asked them, okay, what types of people do you want to work with? Like, what are the ideal teammates? Is it the A teammate? Is it the one who is always driven to do it? Is it the guy who maybe doesn't have all the technical skills, but he's a good team player, and so they went through the whole gamut of different ones, and they were more apt to choose the person that was the team player, not the highest performer. So they were willing to take a C level teammate versus an A level performer because the A level performers they looked at as assholes. They were jackasses. They didn't like them. They didn't like working with them. So they were more willing to work with people who didn't have it all, but they could at least be a part of the team.
I like that. And I think that does, again, create a better dynamic when you're working in an organization. You got to make sure that you have the right people in the right positions. If you have an asshole of a person leading people, get rid of the asshole of the person or reassign them. Give them a new assignment. Or you know what? Put them on a first step. Do what you would do to anybody else that's working below them if they're not giving 110% towards their employees. They're making them feel miserable. Yeah, they're giving you results for the organization, but you got to be less greedy about that. You got to make sure
You're right. And
that
you know what I find
you're
is that the
working.
people who tend to do the best and who have the most complaints against them, the person that they report to doesn't have that experience with them.
Hmm.
They are respectful to that person. They will laugh at that person's jokes. They make sure that that person has their ego stroked, right? Because they know that that's where their job security is.
Hmm.
But now, when it comes time to how they treat their underlings, how they treat their employees or their subordinates, that's when it's very much you do what I say, not as I do. You do what I tell you, and this is what I want. And, where's that thing? They micromanage, they do all these things. But when it comes time to report up to their boss, completely different story. So it's hard a lot of times for bosses to get rid of these people because they're like, that's not what I see. I don't see that. It's hard for me to understand where this is coming from.
Hmm.
And that's the deceptive part of it all. And that it just goes to show that happens in all types of fields, primarily in business, but
Right.
it happens even in education and healthcare, and that leads us to lucrative careers. There's a lot of lucrative careers. I shouldn't say a lot. There are lucrative careers, but there's also a lot of careers that are mid careers that don't pay that well. And so, there's a list of the least lucrative careers that Fortune magazine put out very recently. And when you look at some of the items on this list, it's very discouraging because it just makes you think like, is this what society places the value on or doesn't place the value on? And we look at some of these jobs, for instance, the 10 least lucrative career, the 10th least is early childhood education. And mind you,
Okay.
these are the years where you're taking kids in who have parents who are going off to work. They say 3 and 4 are the most formative years of a child's education and their life. If they don't go to pre-K, they typically have a much harder go at it during school and college and the workforce life. So
Interesting.
that age of 3 to 4 years old is actually the time where you want to start. And they pay these guys at least at $49,000. So number 10 is early,
49,000.
yeah. Number 10 is early childhood education at 49,000. Number 9 is elementary education at 53,000. Number what's that? 8 is social services at 54,000. Number
Okay.
7 is general education at 55,000. And you notice, I'm sure you're noticing the pattern with these, right? What are they
Yeah.
all in?
Education.
All of the education, right?
And we know who hates education. Come on now.
I mean, come on now, come on. I mean, it's obvious in the way they act. So I mean, you can tell that they didn't do that well themselves. They hated the smart kids in school.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like special education is next at 55,000, same as the last one, general education. Secondary education is 58,000. That's the
Mhm.
average. And now these are high school kids, right? This is the most another group of the most formative years when, everybody's going through their different personality changes and
That's crazy.
you're dealing, yeah, like 58,000 bucks. 58,000 bucks. And then these teachers are spending a lot of money buying their own supplies. This is not back in the day where the schools actually bought supplies for you. Now a lot of times you have to spend your own money to buy supplies. So,
Now I wonder if that's public school or a private school, right?
public, public. Yeah, because the private schools, they're funded by, mostly rich parents. They do
And they get
receive
mad
some
money.
funding from the government as well. Yeah, and so they're gonna make sure those teachers get what they need. It's just a very nasty situation, man. And then you got theology and religion at 60,000, miscellaneous education at 60,000, family and consumer sciences at 62,000, and health services at 65,000. Like that's
So
the
that's like
number
an
one.
admin, right?
Yeah, it's just really discouraging, man, when you see this because again, that just shows what the value is, where they place the value. Like basically, these are all the things that could help Americans, right? Whether that's education or certain forms of healthcare, and they pay the least.
And you know what countries hold education above all else? China,
Hmm.
Japan. Asian countries are just on
Yeah,
top of it. And you
yeah.
wonder
Let's not forget.
why they're doing all this shit at such a young age. You look at how they do their math system. It's insane. Like,
Yeah,
I sent you some reels on that. It's like it was a Taiwanese kid versus a Chinese kid, and it's crazy. They both had different ways of doing it, but it was quick. I mean, it was
hmm,
beyond what I even thought for myself. And I'm asking some of my friends with kids, I'm like, are your kids doing this in high school? They're like, no, they're not even doing nothing like that. Like, my child does this. And I'm looking at these kids from this reel, and they're like in middle school or elementary school. It's crazy.
yeah, man. But again, like you said, it goes to show where the value is. The value is in education for them. They don't
Mm,
care about social media. They don't care about entertainment. They don't care about doing all these time wasting things that a lot of other kids do. They are there to learn because they know that their success is
right.
tied to their knowledge. But yeah, that just goes
Absolutely.
to show the state of the economy and what we look at. And I think that that's very important to be able to weigh in today's day and age. Like there's certain industries now that are dying. Like I read literally, I think it was yesterday, talking about the funeral industry, right? And this was actually pretty interesting. Like, you would think who would think of the funeral industry actually being an industry, right? But it's actually
Yeah.
one of those things where you think about it, people die every day, right? And there needs to be some way to remember them. There needs to be some way to send them off. Of course, with all their friends and family around. But even the funeral industry is hurting right now because a lot of people are not going the same route they used to go. Like the average cost of a funeral now is $8,300. And you're spending almost $10,000 to bury a loved one, whether that's in the
Right.
burial costs, getting a casket, having a service for your loved one, and whereas now people are more gearing towards cremation because they realize that's actually cheaper. And the actual cost now on average is about $2,700. So, and
Okay.
they're realizing, well, what's happening with the shift? A lot of people are shifting because maybe they're not as religious as they used to be. Like when we grew up, people, you were something. You were Catholic, you were Baptist, you were. Now it's just, I kind of
I don't
go,
know. I believe in something.
yeah, exactly. I believe in a higher power, right?
I
That's what they
believe in
say.
tacos. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where it's going now. A lot of less people care about that. And then when you think about the cost, it's like a lot of people like $10,000 for a funeral. No, we'll cremate. Honestly, I think that is where a lot of people are going. So a lot of people now are changing from funeral homes, like the actual owners of funeral homes. They're no longer just funeral homes. They're actually changing them to event spaces. So now there are event companies that actually do funerals, which like some even host weddings and parties like on other days. So they'll do one day, a funeral the next day, and then a party the next. It's getting interesting, man.
How the fuck does that work? Think about that. Hey guys, let's have a wedding at this funeral, and don't mind the smell. That's just the embalming fluid.
And so that was interesting. That was another fact. They said that embalming fluid costs so much now that like whoever thinks about this stuff, but the cost of these things, like the caskets, embalming fluid, the gas
Formaldehyde.
that they use, yeah, like a lot of those prices are going up. So it's easier for them now to just say, okay, if a family says, you know what, I just want to cremate. It's typically a much flatter cost and a lot less hassle for a lot of families because that's a lot of money to come up with. A lot of people don't have that $10,000 to
It is a
come
lot
up
of
with.
money when you think about it, right? And you know, formaldehyde is in a few products, right? It's in, if you like your fingernails to be painted, it's in a lot of that product.
Mm.
That's why when you take off your fingernail polish and you wonder why it's all yellow and gunky, formaldehyde, homie, right? There's that. And also, not many people know this, non-iron wrinkle-free shirts also have formaldehyde in them.
Really?
Working in the fashion industry, I found this out pretty quickly. That's why I'm like, ooh, I like that all cotton shirt. So, for example, you go into a Brooks Brothers and you buy a non-iron wrinkle-free shirt, it has formaldehyde on it, right? And
Wow.
if you look at the price between a white button-down non-iron wrinkle-free shirt and a button-down cotton shirt, the cotton shirt's more expensive than the wrinkle-free shirt.
Explains why. Yep. They're like, we'll kill you slowly, for a little bit less. We'll do it.
Absolutely, for a $110 shirt, absolutely.
Exactly right. Well, that made me as like, what would I want for myself? If you have the choice to be buried or to be cremated, what would you choose?
To be buried or cremated? You know, I was looking at something the other day and I thought to myself, that's really interesting. I love the beach. And I'm looking at my reels on Instagram, and this lady buried her mom in the ocean. She went onto a boat, took her about like 15 miles out, how to get the county to approve. It has to be biodegradable casket. There has to be like a lot of sand inside of it. There has to be holes to make sure it goes all the way down to the bottom. I thought to myself, that's actually pretty sick. Like you're gonna put it into the ground anyways. But if you're going down to the depths of the ocean where nobody goes, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and you are probably gonna get eaten by a megalodon and becoming megalodon poop. Think about this stuff, right? Like, imagine if there is some type of parasitic creature that's down there and it attaches to your body. And next thing you know, you're alive again. And you are now indestructible because you have some type of superpower. I'm thinking about, Superman or Spider-Man or any type of these superheroes, right? You have these powers, and now you're Aquaman, right? Think about
Yeah.
that. That sounds freaking cool. So I'm like, I want to freaking be buried in the ocean. Like I want to go to where it's like the Bermuda Triangle. Because if there's any type of shit there that can bring me back to life, homie, I'm all for it. Like,
Yeah.
bring me back to life. Come on, let's do it. I want that shit.
Like for me, I don't know, man. I feel like even when I die, I still, and I know that this is not true most likely, but I would not want to be buried in the depths of the ocean. Because
Why?
I don't want my body mangled up. I want so either I'm cremated or honestly, even I think about burials because if you think about burials and the dirt, really is your body is
Wait,
decomposing there
I'm
too.
sorry. What would you say?
What
Thinking about what?
burials? What
Burials.
some of my Jersey accent comes out when I start talking like that. Yeah, yeah, real talk.
Yo, burials.
Burials. But
Okay.
yeah, I always think about that. I don't want my body mangled. So my thing is, if I'm gonna go out, I want to be cremated. But at the same time, I also feel like if I go out, I want people to kind of see me for one last time. So I don't know, man. It's an interesting thing. I think, of course, to keep the cost light for everybody, to make sure nobody is stretched thin, I would cremate myself. And a lot of times I know people are like getting jewelry made from their cremated loved ones. So I would probably do something like that too.
I think that's fucking weird.
Yeah, yeah, it can be.
I mean, listen, man. My mom was cremated. I know they have like some of her cremated,
Yeah,
like
it
some of the
remains.
vials and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But I will never wear that on my necklace. Now, if it was like infused with like ash or whatever, and it's made into some type of pendant with like I don't know some molten lava, whatever. Like I don't know how to make
yeah,
jewelry as you can tell.
yeah. Because like what they do is like they press it so fine like that it comes out looking almost like a stone, like a
Yeah, kind of like
sapphire or a ruby or something like that. You
something
know
like
what I
that,
mean?
right? So
Yeah.
that's cool. Like I won't wear it all the time. I'll hardly
Right.
wear it, but I'll
Right.
have it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I just I think about things, right? And I know it sounds weird, but when I was young, I have a full Hispanic name that I'm not going to share. But I always thought to myself, if I get buried, I don't want my tombstone to say the full Hispanic name because if they're bringing people back to life and they look at my name, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, this guy's full Mexican." Like, we want someone who's mixed. We want someone who has good features and is mixed with all types of things like I'm mixed with. So I want my title of my headstone to be very mixed. If you want to bring someone back to life, it'll be me, Ace. Right? Like I'm not kidding you when I say as a kid, even to this day, I've always thought about that. Like if they're gonna bring people back to life, I want to be the one. I'm mixed. I'm all the things combined. But they see my name, they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
not
They
it.
would never believe from the name. Right.
Yeah. So, and I think about these things too. And I also thought about this guy who, had his full on statue. They made a full on statue of him. This black dude, he had dreads and everything, and they made a full on statue of him right next to his burial spot. I thought it was super cool. I'll send it to you when I look it up. But this guy, he was like maybe in his 40s, but he was holding a cup. Him holding a cup. He has dreads. He's in his full outfit, and it was right next to his tombstone. I thought to myself, that is sick.
Yeah.
Yo, imagine having that. But then I also imagine these stupid ass little kids. I want to go over there and defile my shit. So draw a dick on my face and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yo, I've been thinking about that stuff too. And it's like, you're not alive to feel it. You know what I mean? But it's still happening. So that's the stuff I most likely would not like is the fact that I don't like my body being defamed or, just kind of desecrated in some way. I think that would bother me. I don't know
would you
why.
want to be a ghost?
No. I think about that because no, I wouldn't want to be. You got to think that's a lot of torture for somebody to
Is
know
it?
that. Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because
You can haunt people, pull their toes.
nah, I think that there's something that like, especially if you had something that you really loved and you could see them. Did you ever see that movie Ghost before? There was some aspects of it that I saw when I was a kid, and I was like, I don't know, it's weird to me because you can see this person, you can literally almost touch them, they're right there, but you'll never be able to actually do that again. I think that that's when it would suck to be a ghost. If you had family that you loved and you wanted to really be there and you saw them mourning or grieving you and stuff like that, but you couldn't let them know that, hey, I'm here, I'm right here next to you. That would suck, man. I think that if you didn't have any friends or you didn't have anybody you cared about, then yeah, it's cool. But if you had family that you really know they loved you, or ex-girlfriend or a girlfriend that was there for you when you died, or a wife, like that would hurt, man. That would be tough.
Imagine you become a ghost and afterwards you see all the people that you love that cared for you, that was there for you, that said all the sweet things, and then you see them and they're like, man, it's finally peaceful, that motherfucker's gone. or,
Yeah.
or the girl that you were talking to and being like, oh, well, it lasted. Get his shit out. All right, all
Yep.
right, Andrew, you can come in now.
But that's the
Yo, I
interesting thing.
would.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be like,
So
listen, I'm gonna pull your toes. I'm gonna freaking clog your toilet. Like I'm gonna do all the things that are gonna make your life fucking annoying. Right? The car when it's not turning on, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be fucking doing the shit. Right? When you're getting up at night and you step on a Lego, that's gonna be me. You don't even have kids. Ride a Legos. You're welcome. I got you. Every
yeah.
little thing. You're gonna have an itch in the middle of your back that you can't reach. I got you. That's me.
That's you.
Mm-hmm.
You heard
Mm-hmm.
it here first, everybody. If
That's
you
right.
knew Ace and you got on his nerves,
I will fucking
and
pull
you
your
got
toes.
that itch right in the middle of your back that you can't reach, and everybody knows where that spot is, that's Ace. That's Ace. Watch out. Watch out. Or if there's a random Lego in your house,
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
Ace.
If you fall into the toilet, you're welcome.
So I know we had a segment that we were talking about before, and so we've been getting some letters from our listeners, right? We've been
Hmm.
opening up, and this is a new segment that we kind of wanted to explore and just kind of get some feedback on and see what kind of ideas we got. So we're getting some really interesting and funny experiences that have come to us from people that are in the dating world, right? And I just thought some of these stories were hilarious. And so Ace and I, we saw some, we were like, oh, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. So we got a couple that we kind of wanted to go through. Nothing super long, but hilarious.
Yep.
So, Ace, man, you want to kick us off with one of these?
Yeah. So one was pretty interesting. She wrote, I got home from the gym, ordered Thai food, and invited this guy over. So at this point, you got to say this. They've been talking for a little bit. You had to say they had a few dates, right? You're assuming. So she goes on and says, we were about to Netflix and chill. I went to shower, came back 10 minutes later. My food was gone. And gone, like capital Gone, right? She goes, he was sitting there licking his finger saying it smelled too good. Can you order more though?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, reading this motherfucker has some balls, right?
Yeah.
So then she says, I told him to leave. His last words before he shut the door was, I'll Venmo you for half if it makes it better. Now, if I was the girl, I would have been like, hell yeah, fucking Venmo me. I would take the money and still fucking kick you out. Like, that's fucked up. First off, if someone ordered food for them, even if it was for you guys but didn't say anything, right? You gotta wait. You can't just fucking eat their food. What's your take on this?
Bro, first off, the boldness of this guy to do this, that's hilarious to me. Like, how were you raised, bro? You ate somebody else's food?
It's
And my
fucked up.
and not only that, you didn't just take a bite, you ate the entire thing? Oh my God. Like,
The
somebody
audacity.
got to go. That's straight audacity right there. Like,
Fuck out of here.
get out and take everything you got with you.
Nah, that's a swipe left right there and a block. Report your ass.
For real, that's a kick left. That is a kick left right there.
All right, you got one?
Yo, let me see. Yeah, hold on. There was one. Now, mind you, this is pretty interesting because I wonder how you would handle this scenario. This is the first date. She's beautiful, funny, dressed in a big hoodie. We
Mm-hmm.
get dinner. It's going great until she says, I still wear this hoodie because it smells like my ex. But don't be insecure about it. He says, I laughed awkwardly thinking she was joking. She wasn't. Later, she said, if you play your cards right, maybe you can earn hoodie privileges too. He said, what am I, part of a loyalty program? Yo, how would you handle this?
Yo, first off, I wouldn't let that bitch have my hoodie.
Thanks.
I was just talking to a friend, and he knows who I'm talking about. He's listening. He's going to listen to this. He was just telling me that his girl that he used to talk to before his wife has his old Nike hoodie that she still wears when taking pictures with her husband and two kids. Mind you, this is a
Yeah.
big this is a big dude. This is a big dude I'm talking about. So he was telling about that. So for the fact that someone brought this in, I didn't even see that come in. That is crazy.
Yo.
You play your cards right. No, fuck
Play
no.
your cards right. You played your
Like first
cards
off,
wrong. Get the hell out of my house.
if you're meeting me first time wearing a hoodie, like you better be wearing them fucking, yoga pants, girl. Like you better have something back there that was spectacular, booty-tacular, right? You better have the D's that are just tripling at this point if
Yo.
you're wearing that hoodie. I need to see the silhouette because if you're wearing a hoodie and you look fucking awful in it, I'm fucking out. Plain and simple.
Yeah, man. That is crazy. Yeah, I some of these stories, I tell you, I was looking through these and I said, wow, like, they are nuts.
That's crazy. If anyone has any more stories that you want us to
Yes.
to share out, we won't share names, but we reached out to a few people and we asked if they can give us some feedback on their worst dating experiences. You could talk to us about your worst dating experience. You could tell us about an awkward get together with the family, anything, because it's actually so freaking hilarious talking about these things and putting ourselves in their shoes. It's quite entertaining. I mean, I hate to say it. I
Yeah.
mean, it sucks for you, but I'm happy that you shared it with me so that way I can laugh.
Absolutely. And honestly, anything like career related, you're trying to figure some things out. Maybe you just get out of college, whatever the case might be. We see we have a lot of listeners that are in that age range as well. So look, guys, we're here to offer whatever tidbits of knowledge we can give you. We've been through quite a bit ourselves, so we want to help you guys get your best foot forward. So whatever questions you guys have for us, let us know, and we'll definitely get to answering them as quickly as we can. And that leads us to our next segment, which is we're going to start a new segment called This or That. So for this week, we got an interesting segment here. So I thought this was pretty interesting. So here's a this or that question. Would you rather know the date you die or the way you die?
The way I die, the date, not so much, right? Because it could say tomorrow and I'll be losing my shit. Now, if you tell me the way I die, if you say, hey, you know what, you're going to die from a knife being thrown at your chest. First off, the very next day, I'm heading out to an island, remote. There's gonna be no knives out there. I'm gonna live on coconuts and fish. I'm gonna be like Castaway without the ball. Like I'm gonna be doing everything by myself, right? I don't care. I live alone. There will be no knife coming out. If I swear, if there was a knife coming off of a plane that's going overhead and somehow it got released from there and it drops straight on me, I'm gonna lose my shit. But that's the only way a knife would be lodged into my manly chest. So I would I would go for the how. What about yourself?
First, that's not a manly chest, my brother. That is subpar at best.
Yeah, baby. We're in the weep, baby. We're in the weep.
But
Call me Uncle
you
Rico.
know, for me,
Throw a football over a
shout
mountain.
shout shout out to what was his name? Ric Flair. Ric Flair. But I think I would prefer to know how I die too, because I think that made me think about what's that movie, Final Destination?
The new one's gonna come out soon. The last one.
Yeah, yeah, man. So I'm gonna
They're
go check
saying
that
that's
out.
gonna be
Honestly,
amazing.
I'm very weirded out by some of those. I can't lie. Like that first one was traumatic, man. That's why to this day
Yeah.
I still can't drive behind trucks that got those logs on them. The
No.
second movie, yeah. And everybody that's seen that movie said the same thing.
Yo, there have been incidents of people having their cars hit by shit that just flies off of the back of a truck. Like, but
Yeah.
I've seen these on YouTube. And
Hmm.
I will never. If it was a one-way road and it was right in front of me, I'll just pull over and just let it just have its way, go as long as you want,
Yep.
and then I'll go. I'm good. A party, I'm
Yep.
good. My wedding,
That's
I can wait.
Yeah, because no, that made me think about that scenario because in those movies, there's always something that happens, like a little detail that you'll notice, like maybe something falls in a specific place, or a certain switch gets turned on, or a certain wire gets disconnected from this or from that, right? And so it's like, oh, is that the way he's gonna die? Oh, is that the way he's gonna die? Right? And then you look and it's something completely different, right?
I
And I
hate that.
think that that's pretty cool because, like you just said, if you know the way you die, you can try to avoid it. But at the end, you can't because there is going to be some weird scenario where that destiny will be fulfilled. So, if, for instance, you're told, okay, you're going to die in a kitchen from the hand of a knife, or by a knife that someone is holding, you might say, okay, I'm on an island. How can that happen? But some weird event might need you to come back to a certain place where now you are in a place where you have to do that. Or maybe they build up where you're now living, this deserted island, where now they have townhomes and
A
they
boat
have,
shows up. Hey neighbor,
yeah,
no!
yeah, right. And it could be a yacht with a kitchen on it, right?
And it explodes, and the knife comes and hits me. Yeah, so much. No,
Yeah,
leave,
yeah,
leave. I'm swimming. I will
yeah.
purposely die somewhere else, someplace else, some way that is different than how I envision it, right? If it was a knife to the chest, I would swim into shark infested waters to just prove myself that it did not happen that way. I'm petty motherfucker. I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna die this way, motherfucker. How about that? I'm gonna die this way. And you didn't think about this. I just fucking one upped you. Okay?
I'm gonna die the way I want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then shark's tooth is a fucking knife.
exactly. See, that's another thing. I don't want to die that way. I don't want to die getting mangled, man. I don't. That's the worst. Like there's a couple ways at which I don't want to go. That's in a fire. That is being mangled by sharks.
Drown.
Because that was another Final Destination too. When the guy, remember that same one, in fact, when she was having the vision and the logs came off the back of the truck, and then there was a big explosion. The guy was stuck in the car trying to get out, and he was literally burned alive in the fire. I was like,
Crazy.
yeah, no, man. I'm
Nah,
not.
nah.
I'm good.
That,
I'm good on that.
that's tough. That's tough. Well, I guess
Yeah,
no, knowing is the answer. I would want to know.
yeah. So next and last one, which is Would you rather stream at home or go to the movie theater?
Would I rather stream at home or go movie theater? Movie theater.
Mm,
Streaming at home, I would get like lackadaisical. I would look at my phone. I'll maybe pause it and do my thing. Sometimes when you're in, a movie and you're watching it and it's leading up to something, you're like, oh, I'm getting a phone call. Let me pause this. It takes away the excitement. It takes away the joy of being in that moment, right? But when you're in a movie theater and you're like, shoot, I gotta pee, but I'm gonna hold this because I don't want to miss a spot. I want to miss what's gonna happen, and it creates this excitement and this feeling of what is going to happen next. Something's bound to happen next. So yeah,
mm.
I would say go to the movie theater is what I would rather do. And I'm a freaking when it comes to movies. If someone's talking, I'm a psychopath. I will be that guy that turn around and be like, "Shut the fuck up!" Yo, I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even kidding
Yeah.
you. My ex would attest to that. Friends would attest to that. I would turn around and do the whole thing. Um, uh, yeah, but that's the choice. Go to the movies. What
Yeah,
about you?
that's I'm a movie guy too. I did like the convenience of when certain movies came out during COVID, because they had to keep the industry
That
moving.
was different. Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I did like seeing. Now I wish I could have seen Top Gun Maverick in the movies. That would have been dope because
They
I
did
saw that
that
at
actually.
home.
They brought it back to the movies.
Actually, you're right. Oh, they brought it back.
Yeah, it was like this thing where they bring certain movies back to the theaters to see it in like IMAX or not
Yeah,
IMAX, but
see.
like 40X or whatever.
See, I would have done that. See, if they bring that back out, I'll go see that. That was an amazing movie,
Avatar.
man. Yeah, that Avatar was cool too. I liked what's that other movie? I remember The Matrix came out. That was a waste though. That new Matrix movie that they came
Well,
out
that one
with.
sucked.
I was so disappointed in that, man. We waited all that time for that. I was like,
For
oh,
nothing. For nothing.
bro,
For nothing.
trash,
For
trash.
nothing.
Sorry, Keanu. I mean, you put out some great movies. The John Wick.
Another John Wick's coming out too. Did you see that? He goes, "Yeah, I'm back." Yo, the ballerina's coming out, right? He's gonna be in the ballerina with my love, Anna Dalma. But she's obviously starring in it. But then he's in it, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm back." And he confirmed that there will be one last movie for John Wick. No,
So you're saying five is going to be his last one?
yeah,
Got it. And so what I heard about this last one is that, or this new one coming out, is that it won't be about the high table anymore. Basically, they will have resolved it.
I'm about
So
to
it's
say
no,
it's been so long.
and you think about like those movies spanned, I would say about 8 or 9 years, but that
Mhm.
entire time was really a condensed amount of time. I think it was like maybe a year of condensed time between him having the issues with the high table, him killing Santino, the guy that wanted him to kill his sister. Like all that stuff happened in
Yeah,
relatively short order. Like it
yeah,
wasn't like this was years and years. This was like literally a couple of months, maybe. I think. That's
absolutely.
pretty
And it's
interesting.
crazy when you think about that. There's a
Yeah,
lot of there's a lot of thought that they put into this movie, and
man.
I know that's going to be amazing.
Great movies.
I feel like it's going to be amazing.
The underworld of the John Wick universe is dope in itself, man. It's just such a dope idea, like how they trade with coins, and they have these underground, just like the guns, the suits, the lavish hotels and places you can stay.
Oh,
Like,
the bulletproof suits, bro. That's
man,
sick.
bro,
I want one of
that's
those.
so dope. Yeah, what? Yeah,
And the guns, the way they sound when he's shooting them,
yo,
dude,
man.
you are just
What's your
amazing.
favorite one?
I mean, the first one's a favorite one, man. I have to go with the first one just because his wife just died, got a dog, killed the dog, and he's just on a vengeful fucking path. I'm gonna kill everyone associated with the person who killed my dog. And he just brought down a whole organization of people, just a collective. He brought them all down because of the principle. You kill my dog,
Yeah,
you
yeah, you
have to
gotta go.
own up for it. If that son would have just came up and just gotten killed by him, saying, you know what, that was me, boom, shot, he would have left them all alone. The Baba Yaga wouldn't be there anymore. But because
Yep.
they kept going after him one by one by one, they kept falling like flies, and at the end, he got them all of them,
Mhm.
all of them. And it's
But I
crazy.
like the fact that he was also a man of honor too. Like he didn't just
Yeah,
kill randomly. Like even if you were associated, he would be like, "You ain't have nothing to do with it. You good." I like that. To me, the second one,
like the security guy,
what?
like the security
Yeah,
guard. He's like,
exactly.
He's like,
They knew when he was coming around. He's like, I think you should take the night off.
thank you, Mr. Wick.
You know, word like he's like, how's the family? You know what I mean? Like, I always I like that aspect. Or
Yeah,
I just like even in the second one, I love the second one because to me that's where you start to see the whole world start to open up. And him and Common, like Common was
yeah.
his arch nemesis. Like that to
When they're
me was
walking, just like,
amazing. Yo, so actually they filmed that scene in the train station that I used to take home every day.
okay,
And so that this scene was like everything's almost all white and stuff. Like that's the
that's
Pat train station. Yeah, yo, it's
that's
crazy, man. And that scene, like honestly, that entire movie was just dope. Like just seeing the whole underworld, him getting all the stuff he needs to do his job, him setting up stuff along the route, like in the cave, like putting things in different places so he's ready to get to it. I was like, man, that's such a dope idea, man. They really executed well on those. They
I just
really
hate how
did.
they kill William Dafoe in the first one.
Oh
And
man, yeah,
I'm like, damn, he
that
could have
hurt
taken out
bad.
his boy, but he didn't, and they knew.
That hurt.
Because of that, he sacrificed himself, and John knew. He's like, yeah, I
Yeah,
got you. I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers.
I'm gonna kill them all.
Rest
And
easy.
that woman, the woman too, the one that came in John's
Oh
role.
man, she's a
Yeah,
bitch. Yo, when she
yeah.
broke
See,
out of those cuffs, she put the pillow
yo,
over
she
the
broke
face
her
and
thumbs.
bam. I'm like, and she took the
Yo,
coins too. She said, give me your coin. Go. And then when they're at the end, when they're like, you've been what? It's like X something,
excommunicado.
excommunicado, and then he starts walking away. They come out, bam.
Oh, he's like, your services are no longer needed. Oh,
She was
I
so
love that. Just that whole underworld is dope. Whoever came up with that idea, like even the next
bravo.
one where they had the homeless, like all the guys that were like kind of living underground
Mm.
in the subways and stuff. Like just like everybody had their own like faction in a way. Like they all had
Oh,
their own
that
little
was
crew.
sick. That was
Yeah,
sick.
yeah,
Give
it's
me
such
more
a
like that.
dope idea.
Give me
Yeah.
more. Give me more. Give me what would be a good actor to kind of take up that helm? Obviously not
Oh,
in John Wick, but like in a different, type of role, different type of movie, but similar aesthetic. What actor
I
would you say
think
would fit that bill?
I could see like a Idris Elba doing it or somebody like that. Like that would be
Mhm.
dope. But he's getting a little older now too. They would need somebody
Yeah,
younger. You know, that's a good question, man. I wonder who would be a good replacement. That's hard, man. Timothy Chalamet. Maybe one of those guys.
I mean, he's too skinny.
Yeah, he would have to put on some bulk.
Like
Yeah,
if
he
you
would have
look
to.
at someone like that, I mean, people would say, Michael B. Jordan, but he has that look to him already, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't think that he'll be the right person for that role. I mean,
I just thought of the guy. The guy. Did you see the Black Adam movie with The Rock, which was panned, by the way? Like that movie was not that good at all. And I remember he was bigging that movie up like it was gonna be so good, man.
or Damson Idris.
Damson it just be good.
He
I was
has
about to
that he
say,
has that look to him, which is nice.
yeah, him and the guy from that's in the Black Adam movie. He played Hawkman or the guy that could fly. I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what
you
you're
know what
talking
I'm talking
about.
about. Yeah, he would be a good character for something like that too. I think that would be a really cool universe to expand. I feel like there's so many more stories they can tell. And in fact, I heard they're coming out with another show too. Like it's called the High Table or the Concert, something like that. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be official, man. I like the idea they are expanding this world and literally just came from one movie. And they saw the success of the movie and they were able to build this whole universe around it. Like that's just dope. That's really fire.
Actually, you know who would be a good one too is who's that one from the Maze Runner? And it's like I think his name is Will Poulter.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. It's
That
funny, he was in that movie. Yeah, did you ever see that movie
he's
with
blown
Jason
up.
Sudeikis? I think it's like Family Vacation or something like that, where they were
Yes,
all
he was
acting
young.
like that.
He was young. He was young, but
That was a good
yo,
movie, man. That was
he had
funny
a
as hell.
glow up, bro. He's now like
Yo,
tall and like built, and I'm like, dude, that guy, and he's a British actor. I'm like, that kid will freaking give him some roles. Give him some roles where he
yeah,
will.
man. Give him some role. He was really good in The Bear too. He had a couple episodes in The Bear, which was really good.
The Bear.
Uh
I don't. So I don't. I watched the first episode. I haven't watched any more
really?
than that. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
because you told me to. You're like, man, you ain't watching this. What are you doing with your life? I got to get you on it. Man, you
You're
ain't
right.
living life, bro. Listen, man, there are certain things out there that set you up for life, and I feel like you're not getting those types of shows in, and you ain't knowing
Telling you,
about life if you're not knowing about these shows. Yeah, that's me.
you're gonna thank me, man. I'm telling you, you're gonna be like, you know what? That damn Kane was right, man. He was right. That's all right, bro. It's gonna take some time, but you'll get there. But I really want you to see it because then we could talk about some of the stuff. Like I love being able to hear somebody watch it for the first time and be like, because then you'll be like, yeah,
Mhm.
it makes perfect sense, man. So go on and get through it, man. It's fun. It's fun.
I'm done. I'm
Um,
done.
that brings us to our last segment of the evening, and you know what it is, man. Do we have any fun facts for the day?
I'm gonna have one.
Yeah, let's
Hmm.
see what you got, man.
All right. So human teeth are the only part of the body that cannot heal themselves. The only part. Human teeth.
Yo, check this out though. Did you hear that there's been a study that they were actually able to run on mice and they found the actual gene that can generate more teeth?
Like sharks?
Yeah, so they found, yeah, I believe it. Yes, that's right. Because, sharks can continue to regenerate. So they actually took that gene and they stripped it out of the shark. They inserted it into the mice, and the mice were able to regrow new teeth. So at one point, their teeth stopped growing. Like most mammals, teeth stop growing. Right, I think after the second set.
Hmm.
But these particular ones, they were able to keep regenerating. So they would give them an injection and then awaken the cells. And I don't know if they did it in every individual place where the tooth was, or if they just gave one injection. But that's something I want to look into as well. But yeah, they actually found a way to regenerate them. So soon, they're thinking within the next 5 years or so, we'll start having some human trials, and they'll get people to start doing that. I thought that was pretty interesting, man.
That
Gotta
was
love
interesting.
science. Man. Gotta love science, yo. Like you gotta think about how many different projects scientists are sitting around working on while we just sit at home and watch TV and shit. Like they literally working on stuff to,
That is interesting.
save the world. Yeah,
There's another one too that do you like figs?
I do. I
All
do.
right, so it says that figs aren't considered vegan because they have dead wasps inside. So anyone who sticks to a strictly plant-based diet will want to remove figs from their report. While the figs themselves are fruits, they often include bugs. Vegan Life explains that a female wasp will enter the fig, passing into a part of the plant known. I thought it was clitoris when I first said this, but as the calamina, while trying to lay her eggs. Eventually, she dies and is broken down by a protein digesting enzymes inside the fig.
What? Okay, you making me rethink my love for figs, man. But you know what? I wonder if it's a visible thing that you can see, like where a wasp has entered the
No,
fig.
you
You know
can't
what I
see it.
mean?
It gets broken down into it to be nutrients. Yeah,
Well,
so
damn, that's crazy, man.
yeah.
Okay, well, all right. Well, I guess no more figs for your boy.
Fig jam. I like my fig jam though. Come on.
I do, yo, a nice charcuterie board. You get through some fig jam. What? Oh man,
Hmm.
love that stuff, bro. So mine is if the history of Earth were a 24-hour clock, humans showed up at 11:59 seconds. We've existed for less than a second in Earth's time.
Interesting. Mind blown.
Yo, it just goes to show the whole theory of relativity. Like what Albert Einstein, his
Hmm.
whole thought was everything is relative, motion is relative, everything, right? Distance, perspective, and we are all just little blips on the radar, man. Little blips on the radar.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but no matter what blip you are, you an important blip. Let's not forget it, y'all. You know
I'm
what
a
I'm
big
saying?
blip.
So keep that
Shit.
in mind.
Yeah, my blip shines brighter than others.
That's right, man. That's right. All right, man. Well, thanks again, everybody. Much appreciated for y'all tuning in. We appreciate all the love and support we've been getting. We've been getting awesome views, and just the love has been great, man. And keep coming through with those letters and comments and special experiences. We'll share them on the pod, man. Keep coming up with it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you.
Peace out. Peace out.
Later.